D, I'm looking kinda dark. You might have to adjust my aperture or something. Turn my audio up too, man. You know I like to lounge back in my chair when I kick it. Feel like Arsenio, Bill Maher, Stephen A. Fucking them sway with the cameras. Then I go hard. True reporter got a story from the fucking start.
Man cave for Cheddar. That original hip hop pop rocks.
Yeah. Yes. Welcome back to the Man Cave. We in here with the legend himself, Mr.
Ron G. Y'all already know
Yes. Thank you, Ron G.
Same here, I appreciate
man,
that.
yo, I'm just ecstatic right now, man, just to be sitting here with you, my brother, man.
Thanks,
this is
man.
like,
Me too, it's an honor, man.
you know, like to me, you're like one of the greatest DJs. You are the greatest DJ of all time, in my perception.
Thanks,
in my
man.
eyes, you are definitely my legend. You know what I mean? Like,
appreciate
because
that.
I came up and, you know, I grew up to that, and that shit, like, them blends was everything to me. I thought you were just a genius. I still think you're a genius.
Thanks,
you know?
man.
So speaking of the blends, how did you come up with that blend stuff? How did you start?
Well, when I first started doing the blends, I heard a few people blend, right? And I was like, well, this sounds good, but if I wanted to hear this song, like for example, I would listen to like Michael Jackson, a lot of Michael Jackson songs, and I was like, you know, the younger guys my age, we can't play ABC in our vehicles and feel good about it. You know, you gotta be, that was like my mom's time. Like she would be listening to Michael Jackson and Luther Vandross. But I was like, you know, I need to find a way to make it interesting for the guys my age where we can feel good playing it in a loud system. That was the thing. I remember I used to build speakers. And I was like, man, the Michael Jackson ABC, you couldn't even hear the bass in it. I don't know how they mixed it. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to put a beat behind this. And then I'll put a beat behind it. Then I'll take it to one of my homeboys and let them hear it. And my mom, she used to be screaming in the back, turn it down. I don't want to hear this skip out Scooby-Doo in my house. And I said, like, all right. So what I started doing was I started hearing when I heard Capri Tape, and there was a crew called E Brothers. I don't know if you remember them. And they would do a blend or two in their mixtapes. And I was like, you know what? I want to do something that's going to make everybody go crazy. Including my moms. So when I started doing the blends, I was practicing for a long time before I finally put out a mixtape. And I would let all my friends hear it, and then they was like, yo, this is a dope idea, but before you put out your mixtape, make sure it's hot. So I said, all right. So I put out a whole 90-minute mixtape and let my friends hear it, and they was like, yo, this is it. This is dope. And after that, I just was like, yo, I'm going to keep doing them. So after I put out Mixes 1, I saw how everybody was like, yo, this is hot. All the girls, all the hustlers was like, yo, G, this is crazy.
So what year is this now? What year?
This was like 89. This was like 1990, late 89.
Okay.
It didn't get popular until like 1990 in the middle of the year somewhere.
Okay.
And I was the first one. After that, I said, you know what? This is going to work.
All right. So when you came up looking up to Kid Capri and them, that was
I looked up to Capri. I looked up to Star Child. Cause Star Child used to sing while he was DJing, and he would tell me, he'd be like, yo, G, you got, when you rocking them parties, when you making these tapes, you got to be able to sing a little bit. You got to harmonize. You got to be more than a DJ. And I was like, all right. And I started being creative, and then going to the park. I was from Rucker. I was in the Polo Grounds, which is across the street from Rucker Park, where all the DJs would be having their battles, and I would hear like people playing Brucey B, because Brucey B used to DJ at the club called the Rooftop.
Okay.
And he was Busy Bee DJ. And then Kid would walk by, then I would hear Love Bus Starsky and Star Child. And I was like, yo, I want to be like these guys. But I want to be like the youngest guy on the scene, but I want to be doper. I want to be better, you know? And I just came up after I did the Mixes 1. Everybody was like, yo, you going to blow, you keep doing this. And I was like, all right. So I made the blends my thing, and I just kept doing the blends, and Mixes 1 put me on the map. It was crazy after that.
Yeah. So what's your favorite blend of all time? What's one of your favorite blends?
I think one of my favorite blends was the I would say the Can You Feel It in the Air, the what's his name? In the Heat of the Night. Is it In the Heat of the Night? In the Air, what is it? Phil Collins. Yeah, Phil Collins. With Tribe Called Quest, and then Janet Jackson with This Is Something for the Radio, Biz Markie instrumental. Those joints, people was like, yo, this Kid G is ill, son. You take a sucker MC and put it with pebbles. Nobody was thinking of stuff like that.
Exactly.
So
you just changed the game.
I was just being creative.
You definitely was changed the game.
And it just worked. The girls, my whole thing was trying to make the girls love it. Because if the girls like your music, the guys are just gonna flow with it. They're gonna be like, yo, my chick like this shit, G, I got you.
Yeah. I would say from the moment I started driving to, I want to say at least, man, until CDs came out, I always had a Ron G tape in the car. There was not one day I went without a Ron G tape. I don't care what car I had, there was a Ron G tape in that bad boy. You know what I mean? So I could remember paying anything from, $10 for one of your tapes to $25 for one of your tapes. So it's like, I got it went around the board. If I was in New York, I got it cheaper. If I was out of town, I paid a little bit more. But man, I was a consumer from the very beginning, man.
Wow, that's dope.
So after that, you tend to trends in though. Now you're doing beats and people are asking you to produce records.
Yeah,
how did you get there? How did you get into
when
beat
I started after I think mixes 9. After I done made so many mixtapes, I started getting a lot of fame and props and traveling, and I started buying samplers, and then I was like, well, I started looping beats, and when you start looping music, you actually producing a mixtape. So I was almost working like a record label, and what I was doing was I was looping beats and then put other beats in it, and then I'll put an acapella on top. So I figured if I could continue to do that, then I might as well produce a record. So my boy Black, he's from Queens, because I used to always be in Queens. I used to be in Jamaica, Queens a lot. And my man Queens, my man Black from Queens, he used to be like, yo, G, I got a singer for you, yo, Miss Jones. And I was like, all right. So I was like, yo, bring it to the crib, yo, let me hear what she sound like. And he brought her to my house, yo, and she sung for me, and I was blown. I was like, yo, she's dope.
That Miss Jones joint was hot to death. That was a fire. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so I said, you know what? I want to produce a whole album for her, but at the time, record labels were giving out single deals. So I was like, well, let me find a way to get her a record deal. And she was telling me, she was like, Ron, I've been on tour with Doug Fresh. I've been rocking with Doug for a minute. And I was like, well, let me do some stuff, put on the mixtape. And when I put on the mixtape, I did what I always do, sample a whole bunch of stuff, put it together, and then when she heard Mary J. Blige was coming out, she was getting upset. I remember those things. These are a lot of things people might not even know, so I'm saying it the first time here. She used to hate Mary J. Blige.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine that because it was same style. Very similar.
I used to be like, nah, Mary's dope.
Very similar. Very similar style.
She was like, nah, Ron, I was the first R&B singer out here on the Ron G mixtape, and now she kind of biting our style. And I was like, nah, don't worry about it. But she really hated Mary J. Blige. So when Mary J. Blige came out with that song, Real Love, she did something similar, but she did it on my mixtape. And it was like, she said, I want to dedicate this vocal to the Ron G. I really want you to be, like, she kind of did it over. And people was like, everybody was driving around playing Miss Jones. So that right there showed me that I can go and make a full record. That showed me that, Ron, if you can get people to drive around playing Miss Jones, then you can sell records.
Yeah, you're breaking artists now.
Yeah, so I said, well, you know what? I want to produce our first single and see if I can get a record deal. So after I did her first single, we let Doug Fresh in. He was like, yo, this is dope. Then I had a meeting with Bill Stephanie at Stepson Entertainment, and he had a distribution deal Tommy Boy. His label was Stepson Entertainment. So I had a meeting with him. He was like, yo, I'll sign Miss Jones to a single deal, but not to an album deal, because I know y'all guys are big on the mixtape level, but we need to, she need to sell some records and show me that she can sell some records. So I said, all right. So we got a little deal, and then Russell had came and asked Miss Jones to sign the Def Jam. And Russell said, I'll put you out the next following year. Bill Stephanie said, I'll put you out now. So she took that little money that Bill gave her, and we did Where I Want to Be Boy. And then I was always hanging at Chillwell from the Gift Fresh. I was hanging with Chillwell, brother Charles, rest in peace. And Chillwell, I used to sit in Chillwell house and watch him do beats. I used to be like the little boy just sitting in Chillwell studio while he's doing beats for Doug Fresh. I'd be sitting there like, wow, that's how you do beats? And he's like, yeah, man. And I just said I want to do a whole bunch of beats and just see if I could sell them. But before I got to that stage, Miss Jones blew up. Everywhere I went, everybody's like, yo, G, Miss Jones is high, hook me up, blah, 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 blah. And that made me believe that I can be a producer and make beats.
So from there, it was...
From there, I just started doing beats after... I figured I could still do the mixtapes, but do beats at the same time.
So I know you did a track with Big L and Tupac.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you hook up with Pac? How'd that happen?
Well, you know, when I was getting so big in the music industry that like my studio was on Riverside Drive in Harlem. People was coming to my studio like every day. People were meeting me outside. They were standing in front of my building. They would meet me in front of my apartment. Sometimes I don't even know how people knew where the hell I live at. I was like, how the hell they found out? But and my apartment would be coming like
everybody knew you was the hottest.
Yeah.
That's like what I'm saying. I'm not just saying that. Everybody at that moment, everybody knew like your shit was gold, nigga.
Yeah,
your shit was beat. You had that fire, man.
Thanks, man.
For real.
It helped me out, and I started seeing people coming to my studio all the time. So I forgot how I met Big. I think I met Big. I don't know how I met Big. I forgot how I met Big, but I knew Big was gonna blow up. And Big would say like, yo, Ron, yo, like you a cool ass little nigga. You know, he was always calling me a cool little nigga. I was like, yo, thanks, Big. And Big is the reason he actually introduced me to Tupac. Cause Big said, Ron, I'm opening up for Tupac, and I want you to come through. And I was like, all right. So I already had built a relationship with Big because me and Big was doing shows on the road. Shout out to Vin Rock from Notorious by Nature. Vin Rock would be popping up at the shows, and he'd be like, yo, Ron G, what up, man? And you know, I always had a lot of love with like Tretch and the whole Notorious by Nature, Vin Rock and all them guys. So Tupac kind of knew my name was already Big because Big already had explained to me, yo, this kid Ron G, man, he's dope, he's dope. And by the time I got to Tupac, and when I went to the club, I went to Pac and was like, yo, Pac, yo, can you come to my studio and do 16 bars? Me and my manager ran up on him. He was like, Ron G, hell yeah, man, I heard about you through Big. So when they started beefing, it hurting me because I couldn't understand how these two great rappers became enemies, and they were like real good friends.
Yeah.
So, and the Tupac story, he was like, yo, give me a number, I'm gonna call you, man. And I got his number, and I called him a few times, and he didn't answer because he was in New York shooting movies. So, and then one day he picked up, and he was just like, yo, I'm coming back to New York, man. I'm gonna hit you when I come back. And he came back, and he hit me, and he just came by the studio. Yeah. And after that, it was just crazy. But before Pac got there, you know, I had everybody in my studio from Tretch to KRS-One to Biggie to Redman to Adina Howard to Loon to Mace. I got like collections of vocals of rappers. Craig Mack, rest in peace.
So that's just sitting on right now to this day.
Yeah, I got
you got any like Biggie verses that we never heard?
Well, the Biggie verse I got, he already had set it on another song, so it wasn't exclusive. But I got like vocals of rappers and celebrities that used to come to my crib and just do stuff. As well as unsigned artists as well.
So did that hurt you? Remember back when they dropped a single, they would put the acapella out and instrumental out? When they stopped doing that, did that have a effect on you?
It didn't, because when I first started doing the blends, I was turning down the bass if it had any and putting a hip hop beat over it. So it didn't matter.
It didn't even matter.
Nah, it didn't even matter because I was being as creative as I could, so it didn't really matter.
So you know how to break it down and rip it back then. Yeah.
Because the mixes that I had you had the bass and then you had the sub bass. You could turn them all the way down, and you would hear the music behind it, but you wouldn't hear the heavy bottom. So I'll put an instrumental over it and still make it sound good. Wow. And people was like, yo, this is dope, G. Yo, I made a baby over your joint. Yo, son, you got me through beds. It was crazy. I was like, what? But you know, you got to think about it. I was doing these things because, you know, I needed something to do. And being young, my mom wouldn't let me go outside. She wouldn't let me hang out like past 9 o'clock. And I turned my room into a disco, to a club. I had brought me one of them disco lights. You remember the disco lights that you could buy from Radio Shack, where it had like the yellow and the green paper and the sliding thing on the side where it's like
you change the colors.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had my speakers going in the room, and I just was having my own club in my own room. until I brought it to the world. And it was just a vision. A lot of stuff was a vision.
All right. So let me jump back into the producing a little bit. I know you did a big song for Fat Joe.
Yeah.
That was a platinum song. Yeah.
That was Fat Joe's actually first platinum record.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Shout to Fat Joe, rest in peace, Flex. Shout to the Hotel Squad. Well, you know, Fat Joe at the time, Pun had died. And you know, I always did a lot of stuff with Fat Joe. That's how me and Khaled, I don't know if you saw the photo that Khaled posted up the other day. We was like 25. We were young.
Like y'all looking young. He's both. Khaled look like a kid. Khaled looks super young. You think you look? Khaled look really young.
So me and Khaled used to be around Fat Joe a lot, and that was before Khaled was actually producing. And Joe was like, "Yo, G, man, I need a beat, man. I need something that's gonna get these people jumping, going." You know, and I felt like I said then. Joe was like, he was like a big brother to me. So I was like, you know what? Any way I can help him, I will. So let me just figure out if I can come up with something. And I went and brought the Triton and the Trinity. And at the time, Pharrell he had just did "I'm a Hustler, Baby," and for Jay-Z, and I was like, okay, I'm about to jack him. I'm like, he don't know this, Pharrell, but you about to get jacked.
Yeah.
That's your story. I got the idea for Pharrell.
Yeah.
And I just did We Thuggin'. And I presented it to Fat Joe, and at the time, Fat Joe had the bar and on Fordham Road. It was called Jimmy's Cafe. I think it was called Jimmy's. And him and Jimmy had the club, and I met Fat Joe right in front of his club, and I played it for him. He was like, "Oh shit, Ron, I think this is it." So then he let a couple of his people here. He called me back. He was like, "Yo, how much you want for that? Meet me at the studio." And I met him at the studio. We chopped it up. We made it happen. And then he was like, "Yo, who can I get on it?" And I gave him a few names. And I said, you know, I could always try to tell him that the R&B blend that I had, the things that I thought about will be big because people like R&B and people like hip hop. You combine it, you got a platinum selling record if you do it right. Instead of rappers, you know, doing the hook themselves. I was like, that's just getting played out. You rapping your hook. That was like the 80s. Nobody's doing that. You're not Rakim. You're not Eric B. You don't got to do that no more. Now you get a singer in there. So I threw out a few names to him. I even told him about R. Kelly. I said, maybe you should try R. Kelly. And I remember Fat Joe he didn't fly at that time. And he was like, "Man, I'm not flying no motherfucking where." And I was like, excuse my language, y'all. But he made it happen. He went and met with R. Kelly, and R. Kelly, he said R. Kelly did it, and he lost his mind over the beat, and it was history. And then Fat Joe went platinum, sold 1 million records. And I was like, dope. And the royalties started kicking in, and I was like, woo! New rips, new everything.
Yeah,
so it was all good, man. And then Fat Joe was just like, yo, he was like, yo, thanks to Ron G, the first person that believed in me that helped me go platinum. And ever since then, me and Joe been like real tight.
Yeah. All right. Wow. So you worked with a lot of other producers since then, though. So can you enlighten me on? I know there was some I think I heard about. Was it back BK2?
Yeah, B2K.
B2K. I'm sorry, B2K. Yeah. I'm not really too familiar with them. I'm not saying, but how did you get with B2K?
Well, after a while, after I did that Fat Joe song, I got a publishing deal through BMI. And EMI. So EMI, I already had the publishing deal with BMI right before I did We Thuggin'. But when I did We Thuggin', EMI came to me, shout to Big John. They was like, yo, we want to offer you some money. We want half of your publishing. So before I did it, I was asking people like, yo, should I give up my publishing? You know, and I'm a new young kid coming in the production game. A lot of the big producers was hating on me. They was like, man, Ron G, you a mixtape guy. You know what I mean? You don't know how to produce records. And I'll never forget this thing that Dr. Dre said. Dr. Dre said, beat makers are not producers. He said, you can make a beat, but you got to know how to produce a record. And I was like, you know, and I had to understand the difference. I was like, okay, you can sit in your house and make a beats, but can you actually produce a full song, no arrangement, help the artist with their vocals, put it all together? And I had to learn a lot of that. So when I started working with Sony recognized me from EMI because EMI gave me a big deal, publishing deal. And after that, me and Pharrell would go to basketball games and stuff like that with Big John. And then Sony, my man, the Sony, Dave McPherson, had Miss Jones had called me one day, and she was like, "Yo, I had a meeting with Sony," and this one made a lot of people may not know this too. Me and Miss Jones had fell out over this back in the days because she had a meeting with Dave McPherson at Sony, and she was shopping vocals. She was trying to write, and he was just saying, "Yo, where's Ron G? Miss Jones, you cool, but where's Ron G?" And she had to call me. She was like, "Dave McPherson want to meet you at Sony," and I was like, "All right." So I went over there to meet Dave, and me and Dave became like best of friends. And he didn't want to deal with Miss Jones no more, and she was tight. She was like, "You know what? I'll put you on, and you gonna leave me out the mix." And I'm like, "It ain't my fault, you know." He just wanted he needed a producer that was his best friend, and I was that dude. And he was like, telling me all the stuff he had on his plate. He was like, "Yo, B2K, Jennifer Lopez, Kelly Rowland," and they hired me to be a producer on staff at Sony. And after that, I started producing. The first thing I did was Jennifer Lopez, All I Had.
Wow.
She sold 5 million records. Now it's about 7 million, something like that.
So you got a lot of production tracks.
So, and shout to Corey Rooney. Corey Rooney was her main producer at the time, executive producer. And Corey was in, he helped me with the song. We had Makiba Reddick, she wrote it. And Jennifer, she just sold millions of records after that. After that, I was in the game. They was like, "This fat kid here, he got it." I was a little chubby eating cheese records every day. And I had it though, I made it work. And Sony gave me some bread, man.
Yeah.
It all came out.
So we're working on all these artists. Who was your favorite artist to work with?
My favorite artist to work with, it was Tupac. But Michael Jackson would have been my favorite artist. But the reason why it wasn't, because when I did a remix for Michael Jackson called One More Chance. And it got taken off the shelf. Because at the time, it came out, but then they said that they took him to court for the little boy stuff. So they took the records off the shelf. And that was like a dream come true, but also a nightmare.
Did you actually work in the studio with Mike?
I didn't work in there with him. He just sent the vocals to me, and we went inside Sony Studios. And we did it, and I got that big check, but they took it off the shelf because the album had dropped. I think like 10 days after the album came out, they took it off the shelf.
Wow.
And I didn't get the recognition, but my name was on the credit. I got the check. But I was looking forward to that being a successful remix single. And R. Kelly wrote that too. R. Kelly always been in the mix of a lot of the stuff I did for some reason. He just believed in a lot of the music that I was doing, and he was affiliated with a lot of the people I was working with.
Did you have anything to do with R. Kelly and Jay working together?
Nah.
Nah, you had anything
But
to
when
do
I
with
seen that Best of Both Worlds, I said, this was something
that sounds like it sounds like your work right there. Like,
so I kind of was happy to see that though, even though they had their little differences. But it was a great thing. But at the same time, Jay-Z gave me a lot of respect and love because he put me in his book, Decoded. He credited me for, playing his stuff, seeing the vision before a lot of people did. Chubb also was a part of that because Chubb was actually in the mix of that as well. So, but I was honored to be a part of the book. R. Kelly, he just been going through so much. He ain't probably had time. But I've been waiting for that R. Kelly. Thank you, man.
I hear you. So who's your worst artist to work with? You don't work with so many.
I think the worst artist I ever worked with was I don't really have too many.
Or any of them like, yo, that was just a bad experience.
I never really had no bad experiences with no. The only thing that I would say that bothered me a tiny bit, and a lot of people, I didn't go to public with this neither, was DMX. I worked with DMX, and DMX is my boy, my homie. But after a while, I started getting a little upset because I'm like helping artists become platinum artists, and a lot of people was becoming millionaires. And I'm sitting at the crib, and I'm like, hold on. All these guys are getting $1 million record deals, and nobody's letting Ron G produce their album or their single on their record. And I was starting to feel some kind of way. I'm like, hold on. And then I started hearing people say, G, do you feel some kind of way that you not getting as much credit as you should be getting? And a lot of that stuff, after a while, it became like I was becoming like really like upset. And a lot of people may not know that, but I was getting upset because I'm like, hold on, all these people is coming to my studio, working with me. I'm helping them get, record deals, and not even knowing. And next thing you know, they millionaires, and they not like letting me get any work on their album. And one of the people that I would say was one of my worst experiences, maybe one, but it turned out to be okay, was Mace. Because I actually did Mace demo. And Mace, before he got to deal with Puff, I was doing his demo, and then next thing you know, he got a deal with Bad Boy, and I was not involved in the deal or nothing. Mace didn't even actually come back and say, "Gee, thanks," nothing. So when I see Mace years down the line, and you know, Mace know I got a lot of love for him. I said actually the last time I seen Mace was out here at the Garden in Boston, down here when Bad Boy was on tour.
Okay.
And he just like, "Yeah, Ron G, you know I love you, right?" And I'm just saying in my mind like, "I love you too, Mace." But back then when you was running around here getting millions, why you didn't say that? You know what I mean? So I had to learn a lot about the business, and that's why I said education is the key. Because if I would have signed people back then and put people under my wing, maybe I'd have been a millionaire and owned half of these rappers. But I didn't, because I was just so in the moment of, yo, I want you to be big. I want you to be dope. I want you to be big.
At that time, did you work with the Children in the Corner or anything like that? Did you have
Yeah, I did. I worked with Cam. I worked with Mace, Big L.
So, because I heard you say you did you did his demo. So I'm assuming at this time they all trying to do their demo projects, correct?
Yeah, they all did. I didn't. Only person I was really responsible for was Mace and working with Big L, and that's how I came out with the Tupac song. Because Big L, before he died, his wish was to do a song with Tupac. Okay. He would always say to me, he would come to my house, we would sit there, he would be like, "Gee, I want to do a song with Tupac." So when he died, when he actually got killed, I wanted to make that come true for him. So I went to his mom's and his brothers and Raucous Records, and I put it all together and made it work.
So like at that era, like New York really had hip hop. Like you had Digging in Crates, you had yourself, you had to really go through New York and kind of, and rub shoulders, kind of like what we have today in Atlanta. Is that so? Do you think it's shifted like that? Would we say that?
Yeah. I mean, as a DJ, I was responsible for a lot at the time, and I would say, having that vision and that dream, and being around a lot of celebrities and rappers and artists, you kind of like, they look up for you to do stuff for them. And it's your job to know how to navigate and make the money through all of these different channels, even if they are through record companies. And it's like that, because without the DJs and the producers, artists couldn't be artists. And I had to really understand that. So when I started seeing my crew run around with different people, and then I saw the artists getting deals, and I'm sitting here traveling, doing DJ shows, making a couple of dollars here and there. I was like, yo, I got to change this up. So even with the Miss Jones thing, we fell out a little bit because I couldn't help her be a millionaire. So when she became a millionaire or had a lot of money, her main goal was, I'm not putting Ron G on. You see what I'm saying? So it was one of those type of things where I had to always defend for myself and go out here and get them bags on my own, because the rappers and celebrities wasn't coming back and saying, "G, you help me." Boom, boom, boom. So it was like that, though. I helped a lot of artists, and I think it's like that in every state where people may have their crews, their teams, and they look up for you to help, people in the state be who they are. And you got to accept that, because that's your responsibility to some degree, but it's also your job to know how to handle your business to get that money.
I guess I was kind of saying that because like at that moment in time, like the light was really, like hip hop was really New York still, the roots of it. It's still, it still started there, but like you had to go to New York. Yeah. So now it's almost like rappers and artists, like Atlanta kind of holds that right now. That's how I sees through my lenses. Do you think that's so?
Not anymore. You don't have to go to New York anymore.
Yeah. Do you have to go to Atlanta right now today?
You don't even have to go to Atlanta anymore.
No.
It's just hip hop is all over the world now. It's not only in Atlanta. It's in Florida. It's in Vegas. Not Vegas, but I say it's in Atlanta. It's in New York. It's in L.A. It's in Chi-Town. It's all over the place now. So now, depending on what producer or what label or corporation you're working with, if they're big and they sign you, and your talent is dope, you don't need New York no more, really, to be honest.
Well, I say that because when breaking artists, you have to talk to the Ron G's, you have to talk to the people that can help break you. So today it may be a drama and a scream. You know what I mean? So you need to have these conversations. If you don't talk to the DJ, because the DJ breaks the artist. So if you don't talk to these DJs, how do you get yourself exposed?
Well, the digital era changed all of that. I mean, back in the days, you might have had to do that. Now you don't need to. Now you can create your own platform, and then the DJ will follow you to some degree, or you'll have your conversation, and you'll get your music out there with the DJ spinning it. But as far as making up money, you don't need the DJ.
You don't need the DJ.
Not anymore. Back in the days, you need the DJ to play your song. Now you can do a video on YouTube and get like 15 million views and get a little bit of money, and then everybody know who you are.
Okay.
And then the DJs would be
So,
like.
so the DJs broke they lost their power as far as breaking records.
Not all the way, but I would say 50. It's like 50-50 now.
Okay.
Before it was like 90-10. You know,
Okay.
90 to 10%. Because now with all social media, you don't really have to, you know, depend on the DJ or the record company.
Okay. So DJing has brought you all around the world touring with all these artists. So tell me something about your favorite tours, or some crazy tour situations, or anything that.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you a crazy story, right? When Jay-Z and Nas were going at it, and I was doing some shows with Nas.
Okay,
right?
this is ether time when they Okay.
Let me tell you, man, them days were some crazy days too, man. Cause Nas, right? Shout out to Nas. Okay, for those who don't know, Nas had put me on his first album. It was called "One Time for Your Mind." That song, "One Time for Your Mind."
When he was like
Ron G in the cassette deck, rocking the shit, G. All right, so me and Nas had a good relationship. We still do. Nas is big bro. And Nas, when him and Jay-Z had that problem, I used to watch Nas get on his knees, right? Nas used to have the whole arena black. You couldn't see nothing. And when when them lights cut on, he was on his knees with a cape over his head, and they'd be like, bam, bam. And you know that intro? FJZ, bam, bam. And when he did that, people's response to Nas was like incredible.
So he'd be up under this cape.
Yeah, Nas would be under the cape, and he'd be like, bam, bam, FJZ, fuck you. And I'm gonna tell you, man, them times, man, I used to be like, yo, and the people would love to see Nas wait for that song when he was on his knees with the cape on him. And I'm just thinking at this time, I'm like, yo, like, do they really got beef? Like, is it really that serious? It was really bad, but that was an experience I had to see Nas do that. Another great experience is I was on tour with Usher. I toured with Usher for a little while. We was in Brisbane, Australia.
Okay.
So shout out to Usher. And those were great experience. Going to Japan with Pete Rock and CL Smooth and Brand Nubian. Did that. I did so many different touring. But I wasn't really considered a tour DJ. But I did do a little bit of touring with a couple of artists, and it was dope. It was definitely fun.
That's good. That's good.
I always just wanted to produce records, though, and make them mixtapes. All
right. So do you still produce records today?
Yeah, I still produce. I'm working with this girl, Nicole Marie, out of Cleveland, Ohio. She's dope. Recently, we did something, Lost Boys at the Lost Boys Unsung. They reached out to me. They put that on there, Me and My Crazy World, the song I produced for Cheeks. I mean, I did so many hit records, and I want to get back to producing big songs again. It's just that the game is different now. The game is more in the South, and I'm not like a trap producer, so I'm still trying to, catch up to the trap world. But just doing what I got to do to keep it together. Doing radio, I got Monday through Friday on 98.1 FM. So and here in Boston, and
what's up?
It's coming along pretty well, and this is where it's at.
All right. Well, shit, man, I'm glad I got to sit down with you. Definitely come do the show,
shout
man.
Shout out to Cheddar, man, aka LB, I want to give you a lot of props too.
Before you go, my man Jamil keeps some turntables in here, right?
Yeah,
he keeps some turntables in here, right? So I'm gonna see if we can set the turntables up, right? See if we can get you to Spencer. I'm gonna go see if I can dig out some of them old school Ron G tapes I got. I know they sitting somewhere. I'm gonna dig them out. We're gonna set the turntables up, and we're gonna go from there.
Dope.
Right,
I'm down.
Cool.
I'm with it. All right, keep it locked, y'all. Ron G. Be right back. Yeah. Hold on, I gotta say it again. Ron G. Throw the F
Main Cave for Cheddar.
G.
That original hip hop paparazzi.
Let's take over. Ha, and I got the legendary Ron G. Yeah, I told you, man. Boston, we about to take this bitch over. Ron G in this bitch right now. What up, Ron?
What up? Yeah, I know how it's going down. Mixtape King, Ron G in the building. We gonna get it going. We're gonna do a little blend real quick. Check it out.
Let go. Welcome to the main cave. He's the Ron G. He's the Ron G. He's the Ron G. He's the Ron G. Brucey B. Kid the Brain. Funk Master Flex. Love Bug Star King. I'm blowing up like it's
rap attack, Mr. Magic Molly Mall. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on prime stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke? The hard, you never thought that hip hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like the world trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner? Peace to Ron G, Brucey B, Kid Capri.
Peace to Ron G.
Love bug start ski.
Peace to Ron G. I said peace to Ron G.
That was the taste right there.
Peace to Ron G.
Wanted to say rest in peace to B.I.G. You know what I mean? That was the taste right there. Ron G, you already know my man Cheddar. We in lace. We rocking out. You already know what it is. I would have did another blend, but you know what it is. Y'all gotta keep it locked. Y'all gotta come through and rock out with us, alright? Ron G, salute.
Yeah, you seen it here first. Make sure you hear him every morning, Beantown.
Man cave for Cheddar. That original hip hop paparazzi.